The good driver is not just one who survives the experience, but one who masters the art of safe and courteous driving. Many factors determine a safe, accident-free driver.
First, the driver must have adequate eyesight to identify the important clues in traffic, especially hazards.
Second, the driver must be in the proper physical condition so that he or she will execute the correct maneuver effectively, whether it's an emergency or a defensive reaction.
And the good driver has to have taken the time to become acquainted with the laws and regulations in the state and local area in which he or she resides.
One area of good driving that has received insufficient attention is driver personality, emotions, and attitudes. But a driver's outlook and emotional state in many common situations can literally mean life or death.
Many of our habits and driving attitudes were formed long ago, before the legal driving age. Some of these attitudes are safe, and some not so safe. These, if continued, could increase the chances for an auto accident.
It's also generally agreed that we tend to drive as we live. This discounts the Jekyll and Hyde theory that says we change when we get behind the wheel. Our driver personality is just an extension of our overall personality, and if we appear to act differently behind the wheel, it's probably because we have more power at our disposal than when we're out of the car.
Rather than having one driver attitude, traffic safety experts and psychologists have identified three attitude states. A child state, which causes us to be impatient and intolerant. An adult state, which is characterized by rational thinking based on experiences. And a parent state, which causes us to moralize and make judgments about other drivers and their actions. This is sometimes good and sometimes not so good.
All of these states are important for a healthy personality, but usually the adult state is the best for driving. And it's up to us to make a conscious effort to maintain ourselves in that state while driving.
Safe attitudes and habits begin before the driver steps into the vehicle. A good driver keeps his vehicle in good operating condition.
Most vehicles should have an oil change and a grease job at least every 5,000 miles. However, it's usually recommended to perform these tasks every 2,000 to 3,000 miles.
Conscientious drivers know when to drive and when not to. They realize that fatigue can influence driver attitudes. If a driver is tired, it is best to rest before driving. If he becomes tired while driving, he should pull into a wayside or rest area and sleep.
The safe driver has a tolerance for the mistakes and inadequacies of other drivers. He does not get easily upset over traffic situations.
The traffic environment can be extremely frustrating with the high speeds, the congestion, and the sometimes confusing controls and traffic situations.
Many times, anger will lead to unnecessary risk-taking. If a driver is upset, he should be aware that emotions will affect his driving.
The safe driver always has an eye on the weather. If it is bright, the good driver wears sunglasses. Without glasses, drivers may not see a traffic problem in time because of the glare.
The windshield on the good driver's car is clean, unlike this windshield. 100% visibility is a must to the safe driver.
The back window is also clean, and the back ledge, unlike this one, is free of materials that obscure vision or act as missiles in a crash.
Safety devices, such as seatbelts and harnesses, are always used, and doors are always locked. Once in the car, the accident-free driver maintains controlled attention and is not easily distracted.
He doesn't become a gawker when he sees an accident or some other distracting activity. Rather, he keeps his eye scanning the danger zones ahead, not focusing on the passenger side or into the back seat when talking with other occupants.
He is not negatively influenced by passengers or their behavior. He realizes that if something happens, he is the one responsible.
He makes special precautions for little passengers who can distract from the driving task when they become bored and restless.
He drives with both hands on the wheel, ready to react to any emergency, being cautious rather than aggressive and never taking risks.
His footwear reflects his desire for safety. Bare feet and high-heeled shoes can reduce control. Tuning the radio, reading maps, swatting insects, and reaching for other distant objects while driving can also contribute to accidents.
A good driver respects the laws and the work of enforcement and obeys traffic controls.
He is courteous to pedestrians. He understands that poor driving is expensive and observes the posted speed limits in and out of cities.
He observes and heeds school zones, realizing that preoccupied young children may not be alert to approaching vehicles.
He obeys signs placed to warn drivers of hazardous maneuvers, such as traveling the wrong way down this interstate highway.
He never passes on a solid yellow line on his side of the center or on the crest of a hill.
He analyzes situations, carefully passing only when he can see opposite traffic clearly, far ahead of his vehicle.
He is cautious at yield signs and at unmarked intersections, quickly slowing down and yielding properly.
Courtesy shows up best in situations like four-way stops, where he always yields to the first car there or to the one on the right.
He may use headlights, even on the open freeway, in daylight, because other drivers are more alert to the approaching car, and he always puts on his lights at dusk, dawn, and in hours of darkness, so that others may see him.
A good driver never puts on his bright lights when approaching another vehicle. He also uses his low beams on expressways and in cities.
Cooperation in traffic is a must, and it's appreciated and contagious.
An understanding of the frustrations in traffic is vital. Despite delays and detours, he remains calm.
Safe driving takes effort, such as signaling to warn approaching and following vehicles.
The safe driver parks properly, leaving adequate room for others. He realizes that improper parking can inconvenience others and obeys parking signs and lines in lots and on the streets.
He is aware of everything around him, yielding properly before parking and never opening a car door into traffic without checking first. Tailgating is a sign of impatience and indicates the child attitude state.
While driving on the highway, the safe driver keeps a safe cushion of space around his vehicle and increases that cushion when conditions warrant.
The impulsive risk-taker is a lane jumper who saves little, if any, time. The wise driver holds steady and predictable lane positions.
Though expressways and tollways are our safest types of roads, the cautious driver still takes special precautions, such as never stopping on an entrance ramp unless in an emergency, fully aware that a stop could mean a collision from the rear.
As the safe highway driver approaches an entrance or merge ramp, he signals and moves into the left lane so that merging vehicles may enter the highway safely without stopping, or he alters his speed.
On rural roads, he is constantly alert for slow-moving vehicles and is careful when following or passing them.
He reacts properly to emergency vehicles, giving them plenty of room. He understands and obeys signs and signals which pertain to him.
If he is ever stopped by an officer, the responsible driver never makes trouble for the officer, pulling well off the road as soon as it is safely possible, and he treats the officer with respect.
In residential areas, he keeps his eyes moving from yard to yard, looking for children who might be playing near the street or vehicles backing from driveways.
He also takes great care when passing bicyclists in the road. He realizes that motorcyclists are entitled to an entire lane and respects their rights.
The good driver is not a speed demon, nor is he a slowpoke. Rather, he tries to blend smoothly and keep pace with traffic.
He doesn't see the automobile as a means of getting recognition or attention, nor as a way of getting even, getting something out of his system, or getting his kicks.
He knows that most accidents are not just a matter of bad luck, but are preventable.
In short, the good driver is the one with a positive and caring attitude. One that you probably wouldn't even notice on the road, because he usually doesn't attract much attention.
But learning from experience and education, with continual self-evaluation of his attitudes and habits, he's constantly improving.